feel like I say this every time I record an Imagine, but there's never been nothing like this. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV here with a brand new floor plan. Already had a bunch of requests to get this one. Basically what they did is they took their previous 23 BHE and their 25 BHE and they kind of mashed them together to create this Franken camper that has never exactly been done before. To try to draw the closest parallel, if you're familiar with something like a Rockwood 2509, where it's like a Murphy bed with a dinette slide and a rear double over double kind of corner open bunk. It's sort of like that, but instead of just an open double bunk into the middle of the living room where you can see the beds, what they did here is they reintroduced privacy into a Murphy bed model, but by doing it in a different way, by making the bunks private. It has a total private separate bunk room. And it's only 25 feet 4 inches tip to tail, 5,500 pounds dry weight. There's never been something like this quite before. Some folks might say, the Murphy bed, I could take it or leave it. What it gives you is super slide living space with a private rear bunk slide in something like 10 foot shorter than anything else that can say that. Normally, when you start getting a private slide-out bunk room in a travel trailer, it's in a 35-foot minimum trailer with almost no exceptions. This is an unbelievably aggressive kind of floor plan. But here's the thing to really wrap your head around this one. Slide outs very quickly, add a little bit of weight, but they add a chunk of cost. This will probably be a more expensive 25-foot trailer. I've seen that happen in the past where people look at this trailer's 25 feet, that trailer's 25 feet, why is one so much more expensive? That's why you don't find a lot of short couples models with an island kitchen and opposing slides with like a rear bathroom. That was tried in the industry and it kind of failed, so keep in mind. You're spending a few extra dollars, but you're gaining that private space so that if somebody is, someone's got to come and go to the bathroom all night, you don't have to look at each other breathing, which, creepy and kind of cool. Well, it's cool that you don't have to do it because it's kind of creepy. That's what I meant. Nailed it. First try. And more than just a cool model I've never seen before, there's some nice features and updates here on the 24 Imagines I like. I really like what they did with the dining table. It's very sturdy and stable. It's a single pedestal post, but because it's center mounted under the table, it doesn't tend to be a knee knocker. And it can easily just telescope up down into, potential sleeping space. Now, these are carpetless. They are ventless. There is a little tiny toe stubber step up there for the slide because the slide actually does glide above the flooring. And there's some household and USB outlets built right into the dinette right there, which is always handy, like whether it's going to be for phone chargers or laptops or whatever the case might be. Breeze windows all the way around, blackout roller shades, and they've got the new lightsaber lighting that is also dimmable up here. Something else they have, they only use the smaller vent fans, but they do add a second one here into the living room. And since they've already run the wiring, doing a fan upgrade is now much, much easier. And I tell you what, the least invasive and I think best dollar for dollar upgrade is from a company called Hengs, Hengs. And I'm not sponsored. I don't do sponsored content. I don't have any issue with people doing sponsored content and getting paid for it. I just don't do that. It's just a product I personally really like and believe in. It is a smart TV. You see handy remote right there. And this is kind of neat. This is a little wireless charge pad. They also can have a couple USB plugs going on at it at the exact same time, which is pretty useful. Over here, you got your 12-volt compressor fridge, and they did make that larger for the 24 season. Previously, I think they were running 8 cubic foots. They're now doing the 10 cubic foot variety, a little bit bigger there. No backsplash and no side splash around that stove. That was it seems like a rare miss from the Imagine group, and maybe just because this is an early prototype, maybe that's something they're going to be looking at. Now, to be fair, the stovetop glass top itself acts as the backsplash, so I can give them a pass on that. And frankly, it's like nobody really does a side splash with the exception of like Northwood and ORV and Lance, for tons of money. It just doesn't feel like it's something that would be that hard, but it must be, because I sure don't see manufacturers doing it. Look down at the base of the side stands on either side of that sofa. There's household outlets down there, and that was an interesting little surprise. I didn't quite expect to find those there. And this is the thing. Yeah, your bed is potentially kind of in the living room, but during the day, you put the bed away. And what you get is a super slide, it really, frankly, like front living room. This is a front living room, private rear bunkhouse for 25 feet. You just drop the bed down when it's time to snooze. Now, people wonder, why don't they cover the top of that? Well, if they tried to extend the bed platform, then it would stick out past the mattress when the mattress folds down. Maybe there's some kind of flappy doodle job people could put up there. I've actually seen some owners DIY some stuff and hang some decorative, I don't know, fabric or something like that to kind of help mask that a little bit. But to give you a look at how the Murphy bed functions here, it is what I call a bendy bed. So it is a simple, easy, one-piece up and down kind of system. It's very straightforward. You do, I believe, definitely need to close this one to close the slide. It's not the kind of RV where you could leave the bed down and still close the slide because, again, they were building this for minimum length and maximum function. So that does mean that, like, your Murphy bed and your slide out would overlap when they're closed. So kind of keep that in mind. But all the storage around that bed, they use all the same storage around their Murphy bed that they do in their fixed front walk-around beds. And because it doesn't have pass-through storage going under the sofa, it's a little more walk-around-able as compared to a lot of other things, which I think is also kind of handy. Now, cracking this open down here under the sink, you see you've also got a countertop extension and a big ol' stainless farm sink, which is kind of handy-dandy right there as well. There's also a dedicated pantry over there beside the refrigerator. So this thing actually has respectable kitchen storage. It is limited in kitchen prep space. That will be something you want to kind of contend with. But if you look at this, like, it's nice that they gave us that little countertop extension leaf. That's a little chunk of space. There's a little space over here that maybe you could use for some appliances because you have household and USB outlets over there in that corner. So you might be able to function that. And I suppose you could always just kind of turn around and set stuff on the dining table if you had to. But that is... I'm not trying to suggest that the dining table functions as kitchen prep space. I think that is really starting to reach a little too far. Now, thankfully, this thing does have central air. Otherwise, everybody'd be hotboxing themselves in the bathroom and in the bunk room. But this is such an interesting, unique arrangement. Where, like I said, basically what they did is they took the same corner double-over-double bunkhouse that everybody else builds, and they slapped a sliding bunk room onto it. Two big windows there, both of which open for some massive airflow. And then you've got the move, bunk, get out the way kind of system. And it works so easy, folks, it's ludicrous. Right now, you're either wondering why I laid the cheese on so thick right there, or you're getting the joke. I'm not sure which. My references are getting a little bit dated. So you've got some household and USB outlets there. Around the corner, you also have some pocket storage here. Now, the thing is, it doesn't have any kind of doors on it. I'm guessing because maybe that window valance would be somewhat problematic. So what I think you might want to do is get some kind of like tote organizers or something like that, some baskets that you use for keeping everything in play. Also, right around the corner here in this private bunk room, you have a handy coat hook and some additional power outlets. Those could be very handy for the upper beds. Plus, you have like a extra power vent fan back here and dedicated ceiling lighting, like where you can just, mom and dad, you can flick a switch and just be like, lights out, kids, and send them off to Neverland. That big silver round thing on the right, that is your tankless on-demand water heater controller. Our porcelain foot flush stool is crazy fluffy friendly. Like, they Imagine's awesome about angling their stuff to really give you maximum kind of use and function out of it. And I was really worried that you wouldn't have like good bathroom space in this, but the bathroom's fantastic. The counter space is great. The total storage in this is fantastic. It is a 6.5 foot tall floor to ceiling camper. So if you're a little over 6 foot tall like me, it will be you definitely have to have your head up in the skylight is all I'm saying. Now, both the bathroom and the bunk room have their own sliding privacy doors because, once again, that's really one of the key things that they did here is they added hard sliding privacy doors into a Murphy bed arrangement to reintroduce privacy in a different way. And like I said, it's not even close. The Murphy bed definitely cannot open in transit. Like the sofa that rolls over the top right here, like Sylvester Stallone in a 1980s arm wrestling movie, also known as Over the Top. It can't open. So that's the thing. When it comes to road mode function on this RV, this has fantastic travel stop access because, you know, it's wide open in here. When everything closes up, you can easily walk through the RV. You can get to the kitchen, you can get to the bathroom, so it's good for travel stops. But because all of the sleeping space is in a slide or blocked by a slide, in the case of the front Murphy bed, means that it's just not going to be good for travel stayovers unless you open the whole sucker up. And here's a pro tip for you from your Uncle Josh. Make sure you push that TV back before you close the slide. Like, it'd be a good idea if up on the slide control switch, you put a little sticker actually on the slide retract button that says TV. Because if the TV's angled outward, it can actually get caught and broken by the slide. Ask me how I know. I came that close to busting this sucker and sawed it just the last minute. Now for towing this one, if you look at the weights, if you look at the overall size of it, I think that's going to be a good pairing for a lot of tow package half-ton capability. And what's kind of interesting is that the campsite of the RV is almost a little bit plain vanilla, far more than you normally find on Imagine RVs, but there is still some good things going on over here. Like, they're very awesome about putting like the biggest power awning on these things they possibly can. And since there's not a lot of other stuff going on, that means that you just have maximum open patio space to play around on your campsite and do whatever you want to do. You do have yourself a propane hooker over there right in front of those Goodyear Endurance radials. You do have a furnace on the door side of the RV, but unless you're cold camping, that's less of a concern, you know, if you have little kids running around with a hot air exhaust point over on the camp side of the rig. You do also have a cold water sprayer port over here, and it's weird that your black tank flushes on the campsite of the RV, but that's because your bathroom's on the campsite of the RV, and that's the most direct route to make that black flush actually flush the black, basically, most effectively. Down below, we are enclosed, forced air heated, radiant barrier. You also have, of course, the stinky slinky sewer tube right there to keep everything out of the way. They've also done some base level inverter prep on these. You see the little white sticker on the wood right there telling you that's where the wiring would go. And I like it when manufacturers put that full-on like light beam across the nose. Freedom Express was the first one I saw do that, because it doesn't matter if you're on this side or that side of the pass-through, you can see what you're doing. Now over here you have your docking station. You also have your solar charge controller tucked up nicely out of the way where shifting cargo is not going to bust it. Kind of like your battery disconnect. They've done a really good job of that here. And as we back up here, you get to see, once again, this is really important to understand. It is a dual slide camper. Like when you look at little trailers, you see a dinette slide in the living room, like, you tend to just think, okay, that's the slide for the RV. It's really important to remember it's a dual slide RV, and that is probably going to be reflected in the price tag, like I mentioned when the video began. In case you're curious, these are Schwintek slides. That's why there's that tiny little step up kind of into the dinette area. Tucked into this little alcove here, you have your tankless on-demand water heater, and I think, yes, indeedy doodly, it is. We have a single sewer outlet where all your gate valves and everything are enclosed up in that heated, protected belly. We also have a ladder to get you up top. 165 watt factory standard solar package, which is basically going to be a decent little battery tender. If you want to do some serious boondock off-griddy stuff, you might want to bulk up on that a little bit. Now, what you folks don't see is like kind of like this right here. This has been a very popular model today. I expect this is going to be very popular in the marketplace. Everybody and their brother's been in and out of it. I felt kind of bad for the time I occupied it while I was in here. But let me know what you think about this one. As always, I'll leave you a link in the video description to check for availability. For pricing, we might be able to have MSRP on our website, but that's all they really allow us to do from Grand Design. Most brands we can publish pricing that we have discounted. This brand we cannot. I may try to leave you some links to those other kind of similar things with non-private bunk rooms, just in case you want to cross-compare. But again, this is something that it's doing something here that no other RV's really doing in that size with this combination of features. I'm excited for it. Let me know what you think. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.